Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the panel, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by A Plain Truth, Nummy, no we're not, Mark, Arwin, and Sleeping Warrior. How are you all doing?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, we're all good, thank you.
I think I understand the addiction to heroin, because when your show wasn't on, I was very, very upset.
You're having slight withdrawal symptoms from Flat Earth Debate.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Now we're getting worried. It's like, wow, you're not on the usual time. Is like something wrong?
Me? Nah, just kids. Usual.
Nathan, before you put the link out, will you tell us that you're going to put the link out? Like, actually tell us so that we know that you're doing it.
Yeah, sure. Did you need some time to do something?
No, it's just that so we know what to expect when you do it. If you do it and not tell us, then people come in and then obviously it messes it up. But if we know that you're going to do it, it's fine. It's just when we don't know that you're going to do it, and then it happens, and then because we assume that the link's been passed to somebody trustworthy and it's not got in the hands of the jokers.
Oh, I see. 10 minutes, I'll put it out. How about that?
So I've been having a conversation with Dawn Treader. He still thinks that we're being dishonest because he thinks that we're misrepresenting how strong the curve should be on the x-axis. After previously stating that there wasn't supposed to be curve on the x-axis, he now accepts that there actually should be, but we're misrepresenting how severe it should be. Because apparently you said, your words were, and he's quoting you, somewhat along the lines of, there should be curvature on every photo or something similar. And I said, well, why don't you come on and challenge that? If you think he's misrepresenting something, come on. So just be aware, whatever his position is, I'm sure it's going to be coming out in the wash in the next day, in the next hour.
He challenged it on the spot, so he basically
make sure he gets on.
On the
Well,
spot,
I think
he
it pretty
basically
much
said,
depends
"Well,
on how far you
right.
can see with how much curvature you should see. Because if it's all obstructed and you can see very far, then you shouldn't see a lot of curve either. But if you can see very far away, the further away you should could basically see, the more curvature you should see the further away at the same time. So on the clearest of days, most curvature should be visible.
Just check out obviously and observably flat QED. Admittedly, we have in that video Ranty claiming we can see Ireland, but I don't care. You know, 90% of that video is accurate. The bit that we tagged on to the end to speculate about the debate doesn't make any difference to what Chris presented at the beginning of that demonstration. And he demonstrates precisely how much x-axis curvature there should be in that image. So obviously that's what I've gone on so far. When I say it should be obvious in every single picture, what I mean by that is we are, according to you globe heads, living on a sphere. Therefore, if we look out of our window and take a picture of a horizon, pending you can actually bloody see the horizon, you should be able to see curvature on it. Yes, it's going to be subtle, in the same way you guys say it's subtle when you see Pontchartrain curvature, but you can still see it. Doesn't matter how subtle it is, it's still supposed to be there. Hey, Nummy.
I think it should only be subtle when you're like walking in the city and you can't really see that far. But as soon as you get in an open field, like looking over the sea, you should definitely see quite some of it. Should not be that hard to figure it out. You should probably be able to see it at first glance, unless it's really misty or something.
The bottom line is, the guys on the globe side, up until recently, have claimed you should never see x-axis curvature. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
too
untrue.
low to the ground, and then they show us bloody Pontchartrain curvature. And it's like, no, I'm afraid not, guys. Curve is curve. It doesn't matter how you dice it up. We should be able to see it and measure it from the ground. It should get far more pronounced as we go up. All of these things that never happen.
Morning, morning.
Morning, chocolate.
Afternoon for you guys, I guess.
Indeedy.
How y'all doing?
Can you say something again, chocolate?
No, I just said how you guys doing.
Doing well. No grumbles. Same stuff, different day.
Yeah, I hear you.
Being called a liar for saying we should be able to detect curvature on Earth if it's a ball.
Well, you're being called liar by idiots, so I don't think it really counts much.
Maybe not. Mark's been very quiet. This was originally his argument in the most recent debate. Obviously, it's not his argument, but yes, it was him that sort of put it to Tim Osman and got laughed out of town. Oh, God, what do you mean, X-axis curvature? How ridiculous. It's only when you start pointing out that Metabunk actually calculate it that people start to pay attention. Oh, well, if the holy Metabunk say it, then it must be true.
The other day, you posted a reminder on our logical fallacies, and I followed it up with the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Are you familiar with that, gentlemen? The Texas sharpshooter?
I watched.
Actually, I am now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's where this guy shoots off loads of bullet holes into his barn just at randomly. But some places there are more bullets hit than others, so he paints a target around where most bullets are, and then claims after the fact that he's a brilliant shot. And what it actually means when somebody is accused of committing the Texas sharpshooter fallacy is that they're cherry picking, that they're choosing one part of the data to support their evidence and ignore the rest. And when people say you can't see the bottom of the buildings over a long distance, they're only looking at one part of the data. So they are committing the Texas sharpshooter fallacy.
Yeah, they only look at the part of the data that supports their story.
Yeah, that's it. And they ignore the rest. So we have to call them out on it.
Yeah, and that's what this is in essence. Look, if I look down this axis, it supports my narrative. Don't look down the other axis.
I think I looked once, but I got away with it.
There can be only one axis.
There is only ever obstruction. Obstruction is curve. Go look for obstruction, people.
The axis of evil.
So let me ask a question about the Pontchartrain then, because when we talk about the 1 degree for 69 miles, how would we show that Pontchartrain disproves that? Because it's not the distance required for the arc of the objects that we're observing. You understand my question?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that what it's presenting is a basketball-sized Earth as opposed to an Earth radius-sized Earth. And how do you disprove that? Well, I think the same principle, exactly the same principle applies. You just disprove it by showing the side elevation of that bridge or those pylons or whatever you claim is curving to show it actually is curving. And obviously, if it's curving, you can get it from all sorts of angles curving. If it's curved, right? Nah.
Or you could model it using Blender or something like that to show that the curve is exaggerated from what it should be on the globe model.
Right. So like I would imagine if we would take out the middle objects and leave the first one that we see and the last one that we see, we should see an obtuse angle. And my point is the degree of the angle would be impossible because it doesn't have the distance required.
Right. Or it's like if we show that Andrew John video where he takes the same shot as Soundly looking down the causeway and the huts, and they perfectly follow the law of perspective, then the Globers would have us believe that, oh, that was just the freak of the light, right? That was just the freak of refraction that just made the huts exactly follow the law of perspective. But the reality is that when it's all weird and bendy and there's an exaggerated. Someone muted me.
Yeah, sorry, not me.
Yeah.
How far did I get into that?
You only lost 5 seconds.
Pardon me?
Trolls are starting.
5 seconds we missed. Not very much.
Oh. Okay, I was just saying that, you know, the Globers would have us believe that in Andrew John's footage where the huts follow the exact line of perspective down the causeway, that's caused by some sort of freak refraction or some sort of unusual refraction on that day, whereas in Soundly's footage where it's an exaggerated curve over 5 miles, that represents the reality, even though in every single picture on public record of the causeway, the causeway follows the law of perspective in the photo.
Yeah, I mirrored Phuket Word's video about exactly that. Perspective is not curvature. I just thought, great, he used one of the boat videos that Ruhif presented. I was like, this is brilliant. He just showed how perspective
Yeah, that's
works.
from Wolf. That's from Wolfie's channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, I saw that first on Wolfie's channel, and so when he put it up there, I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, Nick's on fire at the minute. He's doing really well. Check out Phuket Word if you've not done so already. Be sure to subscribe to his channel. Excellent, really short videos with just flat earth proofs, flat earth demonstrations, flat earth explanations, globe debunkings, and they tend to be 5 minutes tops. Really good. Phuket Word, Phuketword.
He says it Phuket.
Yeah, he lives on the island of Phuket, or Phuket. I think it's Phuket.
Oh, okay, okay.
Lucky him.
Get it.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, the majority of the people around him, from what he's explained, don't live in this Western delusion that we're on a sphere.
Yeah, I've been to
That's pretty
Thailand.
awesome.
Country. Wonderful place.
Got to be pretty awesome living somewhere where not everybody is a psychopathic baller.
They also have amazing food, and it's just the weather is beautiful all year round. Very lucky.
That's cool.
You can go scuba diving and look at coral reefs and beautiful fish, and yeah, nice.
And they all think it's flat.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Western indoctrination. Don't get me wrong, it's starting to leach out into China and places as they become more westernized, but ultimately speaking, this is a Western indoctrination.
Yeah, because I'm sure there are places that you can go and you could show them a globe and they'd be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's
on that? Nah.
pretty few and far between, but that's interesting that there are some.
I think you have to be indoctrinated into globe belief. If you just presented it to somebody who'd never had the indoctrination, they would laugh at you. Oh, have I lost the panel? Lost the entire panel. How long in are we? 14 minutes. Short interlude, people. Welcome to the show. Set this one up slightly differently this time. We used an old Hangout, and it seems clear that the trolls are obviously keeping the Hangout keys. So it will take slightly longer for me to set this up. My apologies in advance. damn. Where's Issa when you need him? There we go. Another call. Link. Okie dokie, pick the link up from Skype if you would. I'll publish the link in about 10 minutes. To be clear, as I say, I didn't actually publish the last link. Still had trolls come in. Do know why. My fault. Wow, people in there before I even got in there. That was quick.
What happened?
Hello again. Someone got in the back door and dropped, and they just managed to snipe everyone without anyone noticing. But this will be different, so till I publish it, and then it will be the same.
I didn't see anyone come in.
Say again?
I didn't see anyone come in.
Yeah, Johnson Walker came in and then immediately dropped, which means he stays in the back chat.
What's wrong with these guys?
That's all right. It cost us 2 minutes. Bit of a pain in the ass for you guys. A little bit of a pain in the ass for me. Oh well, life goes on. No harm.
They're angry that we're challenging their fundamental beliefs and doing a good job of it. They want to silence us.
Yeah. Just trying to shut us down.
We're going to make the world be round by just shutting us up, right? They hope that if we just shut up, the earth will start being round again.
Yeah, it's not going to be round. It never was. It never will be.
Even if we stop doing this show, it's not going to do a damn thing to change the shape of the earth, guys.
Nope.
Don't bother with all your snipery. Just let it go.
Maybe the trolls think that we are actually trying to appeal to them. I mean, I enjoy the discussion, but if I didn't convert a single person, I really wouldn't care. You know, everyone's entitled to their own belief. Who cares what you believe? I believe what I believe, and I like talking about it because it's contrary to the mainstream opinion, therefore interesting viewing. But if you don't change your mind, oh well, never mind.
Is there any more fascinating topic? I mean, I can't think of one very easily anyway.
No, absolutely not. That's why I currently make videos on this subject, because it is fascinating. There's not a day goes by that something interesting doesn't turn up.
Are we live at the moment, are we?
Yeah, I didn't stop the broadcast. It's just you got sniped out of that hangout, so I just started a new one and shared the link with you. Stuck it in Skype for Anthony as well, but he doesn't seem to have come back. You've won, trolls. You've driven him away. But yeah, so back to X-axis curvature. So this was, as I say, Mark's original retort to Tim Osman, and the response was standard. You can't see X-axis curvature. Well, yeah, you can.
First claimed I don't understand what you're talking about, which was a lie, because he's been researching flat Earth for 3 years, hasn't he? Oh, so he claims. But anyway, carry on.
One in the chat says, why have you only got 5,000 subscribers? 5,900 actually, but it's because I don't buy subscribers. So that's why I get decent viewings. I don't know how many people are watching now, but it tends to be the case that if you don't fake your subscribers, you do actually get a decent viewing base because they're real people that have subscribed to you, but your numbers don't grow as much as others who do buy subscribers, which I do not. 117, there you go, 117 people watching because I've got 5,000 genuine subscribers. That said, it's always nice to have more people watching. Please share the show. The Earth is flat. You know who Betty is?
Yeah.
I know who Betty is. Yes.
No.
Put out a challenge. I can't remember who it was she was challenging now in the comments. Oh yes, Al K. So Al K left a comment in one of the videos, and Betty basically called him out and said, "Right, I'll challenge you on that. Let's debate." So I thought I'd bring it up with you, Nummy, because recently M. Scott Veach was challenging yourself, and I think you were like fairly open to the idea. You're like, whatever, yeah, sure, fine.
Yep.
Let me know when. Hopefully Al K will also do the same.
Yeah, actually, I gotta check. I've been messaging with him on about arranging that. I think we're gonna do it on Issa's channel, maybe.
Cool, can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to reply. But setting a time.
Yeah, Betty is Betty Van Velsen. You may or may not know her, Mark, but he has been on the show once.
Yeah. What, is he a baller, is he?
No, she's a flat earther.
Oh, right, okay.
A similar shtick to Quantum Eraser. In other words, she tells people that they should be following the scientific method. Yeah, she knows her stuff. For knowing her stuff, she was nominated for Dumb Fuck of the Year, just for being able to hold a decent conversation down or hold a decent debate down.
Yeah. And so where we're going to see her? What was the conversation then?
I think she's challenged Al K in the comments in the same way M. Scott Veach has challenged Nummy. Hey, Sleeping Warrior, welcome back.
Hola.
I will say that M. Scott Beach has been quite cordial in his messages with me.
Has anybody come across the Greater Sapien?
No.
The guy with dreadlocks. He's a bit like he's a baller, and he uses very good logic for his opinion. But he's challenged the Morgile, and there's been a backwards and forwards bunk and debunk between the two of them.
Oh yeah, I watched the at least about half of I think the Morgile's last response to him.
Yeah, is that the black guy with the dreadlocks? Yeah.
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 Half of his response, so you got through 3 hours of it, right?
Sorry?
I said, I was just making a joke. You said half of Morgile's response, so I was like, you got through the first 3 hours then.
I think it was 2 hours, yeah. I mean, I think I got through 2 of 4 hours, maybe.
I love John's sentence structure.
I think the Morgile is one of my absolute favorite.
Me too. John's sentence structure is amazing. He can make a sentence last 3 paragraphs. Fantastic.
But it's very meaningful, you know?
Oh, like, God, yeah. I'm not in any way knocking it. The reason his sentences last a long time is because he covers every potential debunk in any assertion he makes. So his sentences go on for a long time because he's covering every single angle. He doesn't
stumble either, or he has any ers or rs. He's so fluid. In every sentence, as you say, 10 words becomes 100 words, but it's fluid. Mm-hmm. I could listen to him all day.
And he's come up with so many original points. You know, when I first got into flat Earth, his work really helped me along quite a lot. I would say almost more than anyone else, I think.
Yeah, same here. He had a way of verbalizing things that were conceptual, and if you can verbalize them in a really, I don't want to say concise way, but an accurate way, it makes it really easy to visualize the thing he's explaining. And a lot of the things he's talking about are conceptual, about stars and planets and positional locations versus Earth as a sphere. You know, it's complicated to wrap your head around that when someone's verbalizing it. But like you say, Morgile does a fantastic job. Big shout out to John the Morgile.
And Brian Mullen was good when he was about as well.
Yeah. Big shout out to the Morgile.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan. Hi.
Yep, everyone loves Morgile.
If you're not subscribed to the Morgile, be sure to do so. Wonderful channel.
I'll stick the link out once Anthony's off the phone. I said off air, well, off air for you guys, on air for the audience, but the link didn't actually get published then. So I used one of the old Hangouts. I've got a list of maybe 5 Hangouts. So obviously whoever's joined has kept the link from 5 Hangouts ago and decided to reuse it just to join while the link's not public. Just makes me smile, the level that they'll go to.
Yeah, I know, they're obsessed. They're totally obsessed. And it's like, you know, it's just one of these things, like, if you're not interested in this, in, you know, determining the truth of the shape of the earth, if, you know, why are you here? What's up with these people? If they're so sure that they're right and that we're all just such idiots, like, then why are they so obsessed with derailing the conversation?
I've said something similar in a few comments, which is, if you were right and science was on your side, you'd be ramming it down our throats.
Yeah, you'd have defeated us long ago, right? We wouldn't be here anymore if science was on the globe side. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, me neither.
I would be here ramming it down your throats.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally.
Exactly. You know, if something is true, then it's true, and I'm not the type of person that would involve myself in some cult just for the sake of being in some cult. I only say that because that's what Flat Earth is accused of being. You know, some crazy cult of people that think the Earth is flat. It's like, no. A handful of people that have figured out the obvious and observable nature of their reality, and then are faced with a religion which underpins most of Western society. That's what you come up against. That and cognitive dissonance.
I got an unsolicited video sent to me by my son-in-law for pro-globe Earth, just out of the blue. And I sent him an email back saying, so what's your point? Where do you want to go with this? And he says, well, why can you not, why do you see the mast first before the rest of the ship? When did ships have masts? 150 years ago. He's only copied what he's heard. The fact that he said mast rather than, you know, a boat.
Right.
It's just totally indoctrinated. And when I started to get some good questions to me, he just ran off.
Yeah, well, you're challenging people's fundamental beliefs, right? So the problem isn't the flat Earth itself; it's that they would have to. It's all the baggage that comes with it, which is, you know, basically a conspiracy. So that's what's difficult for people to process, the idea that they've been lied to their whole lives and they never noticed. It pisses people off, right? Like, they have to acknowledge that they've been fooled, and the whole thing seems quite ridiculous to them. And I think it's more about that than it is about the questions of natural science.
Yeah, it's easier to lie to somebody than it is to convince them they have been lied to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was talking to somebody in my private life about this, and they kept insisting that, you know, the way that we can know that the Earth is a globe is by applying Occam's razor to determine that it's more likely that it's too unlikely that we've been lied to about it this whole time. And I'm like, you know, that's not a logical argument. I mean, people abuse this Occam's razor thing too, right?
Yeah, they do.
Like, I'm like, I personally think that's more likely, so then that somehow you think that that's a proof the Earth is a globe. It's like really bizarre.
It's because they've heard so many presuppositional arguments that they just think that it logically follows.
Yeah, and they don't understand logic, so they think Occam's razor is a logical argument.
Well, we're just starting to get into people understanding what logical fallacies are. So, you know, someone like Tim Osman who claims to use logic, and yet their arguments are fallacious. You think, well, it's time to start learning what the fallacies are if you think you're using logic.
Yeah, well, that's the Occam's fallacy, which, you know, I guess Occam's razor is not really a fallacy, but it's used fallaciously so often that there should be an Occam's fallacy, which is just applying Occam's razor to something that's far more complex.
It's like the Joker card, isn't it? They play that Joker of Occam's razor, and they think that's it, finished.
Yeah, or it's based on their personal opinion, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, but Occam's razor is not applied to social situations in sciences. It's applied to rather physics and physical phenomena.
But it doesn't apply to. It's not a logical argument, anyways. It's just a more of a rule of thumb for certain cases. But it's not a meaningful argument in any way. Actually, it doesn't really do you any good to rely on Occam's razor to determine the truth of anything.
Well, let's just play about with that. We are a baller, and we're falling on the Occam's razor card. What have we got? Celestial maneuver of two celestial poles is one that they look at and say so it must. What else have they got? Ships over the horizon.
Signals bouncing off the moon.
Well, in the case of the person that I was discussing, that they were saying that it's more likely that if all the scientists are saying that it's correct, that
right, okay. Well, that's
there would be a big deception. Like, so it's just the absolute most silly and fallacious possible use of Occam's razor. But this person I was talking to was just absolutely convinced that
argumentum ad populum, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, but also with an injection of the Occam, described as an Occam's razor proof. But we're insisting that Occam's razor could actually provide proof of something. And I'm like, you don't understand Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Just invoking Occam's razor. But it's similar to what you were saying, where you can just tell that people have just listened to other people and are just regurgitating.
Yeah, P. Mars yesterday, what was he talking about? The bouncing stuff off the moon, and his friend did it, and his friend's at amateur radio. Well, show us how. And he hadn't got anything to, he hadn't got a leg to stand on, had he?
No, he was just here to troll, though.
I know he's a troll. He's a nuisance. I don't think we should give him any airtime when he comes on.
He's just so irritating.
Don't entertain him.
Irritating. His grating voice. ADD argumentation style.
Yeah, the Rumpus gives us a run for our money, but P. Mars doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these guys, you know, like they come in and argue, and then as much as I disagree with them, I do learn things from arguing with them, right? It kind of forces me to dig a little deeper, to find some more info or to...
Yeah, that's right, yeah. The Rumpus is a deep man, he's very intelligent, but P. Mars is just pathetic. Hang on, sweetie. Oh.
I mean, the Rumpus does have a horrible personality and a extremely annoying communication style, but yeah, he does put up a good fight. Sometimes not. But P. Mars has got nothing going for him.
Can one of you explain begging the question, please?
But P. Mars got nothing going for him.
Can one of you explain begging the question, please?
It's when you you're trying to prove something, and you're trying to prove something, but one of the things that you're trying to prove is also one of the premises of the thing, is one of the premises of your logical argument. So you're trying to prove the Earth is a ball, but in order to do so, you
have to assume it's a ball.
You assume the Earth is a ball.
Right, like Wiggles did. So you draw a circle and say if the guy's standing on the top of the circle and this guy's standing on the side of the circle and you take a measurement, then automatically you presuppose you're on a sphere before you take your measurements. So the fundamental premise of his proof is subject to a presupposition that you're already on the thing you're trying to prove.
Yeah, it's a circular argument.
Yeah, presuppositional argument, basically.
Yeah, or a circular argument, you could also describe it as different ways. Yeah. But that's funny because he's assuming we're on a circle and he's making a circular argument.
Indeed.
But that Wiggles, oh man, that was so classic. I love that. I like that guy. I wish he would come on more. He's such a quaint fellow.
Has anybody had any problems with Skype today? For some reason, my Skype won't update. Nathan sent the link out on Skype, but the last message I got from him was 1500. Now my phone has updated with the link, but my PC for some reason hasn't.
Try restarting Skype. I've noticed that sometimes that solves that problem. Just shut it down and open it again.
When it works, Skype's fantastic. When it doesn't work, it's now, oh yeah, it's fixed it now.
Restarting usually will eliminate those problems. I think it's something about the, what do you call it? I can't think of the word.
What do you call it? Do you know what? I've not heard that since I was in high school.
You guys ever see the It Crowd? It's about two IT technicians that work in the basement, and their standard answer to any phone call ever is, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah.
That's how they answer the phone. They pick up the phone. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 98% of all computer issues will be solved by that, or software issues anyway.
And work, so...
I remember seeing that meme about Bill Gates saying that if cars had kept up to date with technology the way computers had, we'd all be driving around in 200-mile-an-hour supercars that could fly, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. And in response to him, somebody in the automotive industry had said, if computers were as reliable as modern-day cars, and then basically give a real, like 10 different things that the computers were naff for, even just like basic restarting doesn't always work when it crashes. And it was just funny how they were responding to Bill Gates. I found it hilarious. So the bits I've just missed then. What's the what was the yeah? Okay, the link's going out. Okay, hang on, wait. So I'm guessing that how did the other hangout finish? Was it because somebody joined and they weren't caught quick enough?
Yeah, you were on the phone. Somebody joined, left immediately, hung around in the back chat.
And Arwin didn't pip him off.
Didn't see anything.
Be quick.
Yeah. What was I going to say then?
We were talking about logical fallacies, Anthony. What's your favourite?
My best logical fallacy.
Yeah, not the one that you would use, but the one that you...
The ad populum, which is the one that, because the scientific community and the consensus by others is that we live in a ball, the ad populum fallacy states that because everybody else agrees with you, it's therefore correct, regardless of whether or not it's true.
Yeah, so it's known as the bandwagon one, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, the bandwagon fallacy or the ad populum one. They're the same one.
It's kind of a mixture of that with the argument from authority. It's sort of all those three swished together.
There's a few good ones, to be honest. I have them on me click. You know, me click link. Ad hominem's a good one. Attack the person's character rather than the argument itself. So, and
what about argumentum ad baculum? Have you got that one?
No, go on.
It's arguing with a stick. Because I said so, or I'll smack you over the head with this stick.
Yeah, that's what Dawn Treader does. Dawn Treader does that.
That's the authority that the courts have over us in this country, because we say so. You challenge them on jurisdiction. It's nothing to do with jurisdiction. We just say so. Argumentum ad baculum.
Do you know what's a really overused fallacy? And Tim does this a lot. He claims that everything's a false dichotomy, and the definition of a false dichotomy fallacy is, thou shalt not reduce the argument down to two possibilities. That's a false dichotomy, but Tim uses it out of context. So he claims that lots of stuff is a false dichotomy when it actually isn't.
He's actually making a false dichotomy when he's doing that, ironically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other one that's common is the switch from the burden of proof, called the burden of proof reversal. Basically, when it's the assertion made by science, i.e., we live on a spinning ball, and then the ballers come back and say, "Well, where's your proof that it's not?" Well, actually, it's the other way around. It's where's the proof that it is. So you guys are the ones, for example, on the curvature on the x-axis. It's not up to flat earthers to go and prove that it's not there. It's up for the ballers to prove that it is there, and every baller has already stated their position. Every baller I've ever met has all said the horizon's flat. So there's no way that they're going to be able to argue now that it's suddenly got curve to it.
Or they can just get in touch with Metabunk and say, what the hell are you playing at? Why are you telling people that there's curve on the x-axis? That's not our argument. It was really easy when we only had to prove it on one axis. We know that they have a direct
line to him through rumpus, right?
Say again?
We know that they have a direct line to Mick West through the rumpus, right? So that probably will get changed. But if it does get changed, I mean, don't forget where this came from. This came from the result where it came from the Isle of Man debates, and at the time it got changed, and me and Nathan were like, bastards, they've changed it. And the consensus at the time was, don't bother bringing it up now because we've battered Isle of Man to death. Let's move on from it, but we'll just keep it there in the background. At some point, some moron's going to bring up boats again, and when they do, we'll jump on it. And it just so happens to be Dawn.
Yeah, unlucky Dawn.
Yeah. I can't help but like Dawn, though. He's such a victim in this thing because he knows that things don't make sense, but he still supports the ball narrative anyway. And I think it's because he's scared to jump ship, but ultimately he's never going to jump ship because he knows what will happen if he does. Typical bully mentality, these ballers, right?
I was going to say, why did the word bully spring to mind? Because it doesn't strike me that Dawn's being a bully, but yet, why did that word pop into my head literally seconds before you said it? Because he's not a bully,
because
is he?
He's being bullied by the ball.
Bullied. Yes, that's why he's having to fall in line with the people he knows. So he's actually being bullied. Yes.
He is. That's what I think. And a lot of them are as well, because there's a lot of people that are borderline. I mean, you get the odd protagonist like the rumpus and whatnot, but most people follow like sheep. And Dawn is a sheep, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but he will follow the flock. If the flock say, "Yeah, there shouldn't be any horizon curvature," then that's what he'll come out with. But if somebody on his side starts doing some maths, like the rumpus, for example, and says, well, you might get a little itty bit, but it's only like half a pixel, and that's what he'll then come out with. So I mean, that's why he flip-flops. I mean, I sent Nathan 3 pictures the other day. 2 pictures were him calling me and Nathan liars and dishonest. And then the third one was him flip-flopping, saying, well, okay, then there should be a bit of horizon curvature, but it's so small you wouldn't be able to tell. But the point was he was flip-flopping because previously he knows and accepts, and everybody on the ball earth side accepts that the horizon is flat. But the premise is that the Earth's so big that you would never be able to tell because we're so small on it and the Earth's so big. But geometrically speaking, of course, it's not. It's a fixed size and it should be present in most pictures. But he obviously got an issue with you saying all pictures, but who cares? Principle is still established that the X horizon curvature is a thing. It should be there. And now Metabunk state it. So where's the evidence to support it? And it should be reportable or observable and measurable using, quote, a variety of methods. That's what it says on their website.
I'll clarify that again as well, because I tried to get this in earlier. Dawn said it when I said it the first time. I say all pictures, and he's so facetious. He's like, oh, right, so if I take a picture of my carpet? No, of course not. I mean, all pictures that we are presenting on these shows. Obviously, we're talking about the ones where people are going out and taking pictures at long distances, photographing the horizon, photographing the x-axis, photographing pontchartrain for curvature, all that kind of stuff. That's what I mean by all pictures. I don't mean bloody in a studio taking a picture of a model pictures. That's absolutely absurd.
I'd say it's all the pictures that are zoomed out. I mean, if you zoom in and you get a pontchartrain, for example, showing the curve, and you accept that's the curve that you're looking at, and therefore dismiss, of course, that it's anything optical, then it means that, sure, yeah, you can accept that, and you can have boats with that as well. But if you're going to accept boats and pontchartrain, you've got to also accept that the X curvature's got to be there.
Right.
Now, obviously, we all know it's flat. But if the quoting from Metabunk's page, it says, quote, horizon curve refers to how much the left and right ends of the horizon are vertically lower than the middle of the image, measured in various ways. And how much proof have we seen of X curvature that nobody accepts even exists until today or yesterday when Dawn realized? None. There is no evidence of X curvature horizon curve because we all know the horizon's flat. And Dawn couldn't get it into his head that because the horizon's flat, it means there is no curve. So what he's had to do is rationalize it by saying, well, there is a little bit of curve, but it's so minuscule that you'd never really be able to observe it with the naked eye. Well, that's not what it says. What it says is that you can measure it in various ways. So where's all these various ways of measuring the horizon curve from the ballers to prove we live on a ball? And the answer, of course, is there is none. And every baller that I've ever met has always argued that the horizon is flat because it's so big that we can't even detect it. That's not what Metabunk says. Metabunk now says that it's measurable in various ways. So I'd like to see some of this apparent curve, please. And we obviously know that if you go up to 30,000 feet on a commercial jet, we know that that's got flat as a pancake. We know at 70,000 feet Concorde height, that's flat as a pancake. We know at 120,000 feet, that's flat as a pancake. So if it's supposed to be curved at the beach and it's supposed to be curved up at 120,000, where's the curve supposed to start? We know on Google Earth that when you back out to 30,000 feet, which is the height of the commercial flight path of a plane, we know that that should be showing you the curve because it's a geometric shape. It's got nothing to do with like the observer height in terms of, so I suppose it does have to do with the height, but because it's a geometric sphere, that starts playing out at certain altitudes. And you can test it with the Google Earth, which obviously isn't their model anymore, but they use it anyway. But we see that curve at 30,000 feet. We're supposed to see it at sea level as well, and it's measurable in various ways. And of course, there is no evidence to support this nonsense, but it has to be there because of the geometric sphere that we're supposed to live on, that's got a given size, a given radius, a given circumference, and hey, guess what? No evidence to support it.
You got on screen what I've put up?
Yes, I can see it.
So this is Chris Monk-Seeley. He sent me this this morning. So this is an iPhone 5 from 35,000 feet. This is how the curve should appear. So we're not idiots. We don't think this is going to be some massive roller coaster curve. It is subtle, however, measurable from ground level. And if you want to see the ground level example of this, which is obviously more subtle, you can see the QED demonstration that Chris Monk-Seeley did of exactly that. He demonstrated using the Isle of Man footage, panning left and right to show precisely how much left to right curvature there should be in that image. Obviously it is subtle, but when modelled on a ball in Blender the size of Earth, you have curvature, and it should be detectable, measurable.
Yeah. And not just measurable or detectable, it's measurable or detectable in various ways, measured in various ways. That's what their model says, in various ways. So who cares what ways they are? Rumpus, get your theodolite out if that's what you think it is. Get your, I don't know, your graph paper or whatever nonsense that you want to use. But we want to see all this. So where's all these various ways of showing the curvature on the horizon? Because we'd like to see it, please. And guess what? We all know that the horizon's flat, and every baller, I mean, I'm sure Nathan will agree with me, every baller that we've ever spoke to has always said, yeah, the horizon's flat because it's so big you can't tell, right? Well, no, that's not the case, is it? It's measurable in various ways. So where are they, please? Let's see them.
Yeah, let's see some measured curvature on the x-axis, if it's supposed to be there. Obviously, it's supposed to be there. You're on a ball, right, guys?
And guess what we're going to now do? The tables are well flipped now, because whatever observation height you guys claim, we're going to add 30 meters onto it and enhance that curve, because you guys did it to me. And then we're going to ask, where's that extra bit of curve that it makes? Where is that curve? And we all know what's not going to happen. This is going to be another one of those things that they shove under the mat and don't respond to and hope it goes away. We'll have to add it to the list of Paul Voigt and Rumpus and Sly Sparkane. So there's an ever-growing list. We need to keep a jotter of all these things that are outstanding that need to be addressed, because these are the ones that they're telling us, and they're hoping these things go away. And guess what? They're not going to go away. Where's the XY curvature, the X-axis curvature, boys?
Where's the proof of R, boys? Where's the proof of R?
Yeah.
Where's the proof of a self-perpetuating molten iron core, lads? Chop, chop.
Yeah. Why can we see the town of Bridesly from the beach when you asked me to go back and get it, and I got it, and now you pretend you can't see it, and you won't even see it until I point it out for you? No, Sly, you're the one that used the composite. You're the one that can tell me where it is, and you can do it, but you refuse to do it because you think I'm going to point it out to you just so that you can then say, oh, yeah, it is there. No, I don't think so. If you're going to play funny buggers, I'll play it back, and that's the reason why I'm not bothering with you. You're a dishonest, disingenuous piece of shit.
You know what might be interesting is to make a written summary of all of these outstanding claims and start dropping it into the description of the debates, so that people, other people
held accountable.
Yeah, or just so that people know what the, are some hot topics to come in and debate about.
You got your Word document. Right? Get a Word document.
Sorry?
Words out. Get a Word document open, Anthony. Let's start writing these down. Let's get the list together now. Why not? Let's do it live.
What we need to do is we need to have a Post-it note stuck on your screen. So if you make an OBS like signpost and stick it on your sunset as part of your OBS, and we can have it as like a jotted pad, like a notepad on the side. Outstanding issues, and then we never lose them. Then, so we've got like Paul Voigt and Rumpus and all that stuff. That's what we should do.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Fox News, which is probably Steve Anthony, because he pretends that he's a journalist in some way. I think he's got this fetish about being a journalist. Breaking news: no one will join this show because it's shit, and Nathan is the reason. Actually, nobody will join this show because nobody's got any evidence to support the positions that they claim is true. So we need a jotter, Nathan, on OBS and stick it as an overlay on top of that screen, so that and it'll get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, could definitely do with the list getting together. Shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat for the super chats. It's Horizon. I didn't. Oh, it's gone.
It's Horizon, not curve is on, and airplanes not on an airplanes and a globe.
You take a look at my screen for a second.
Sure.
Just a nice aerial shot of the Pontchartrain Causeway.
Alan B says it's a great echo chamber again. What is that? Because the link's not been out for 10 minutes.
Link's public. Anybody can join. Feel free to join. If you haven't refreshed your page, you will have the old link because you haven't refreshed your page. But the
According
link
to
is public.
Stanley's footage, we should be seeing an arch. Right? Look at that.
Wow, nice.
There is the roller coaster in the bottom left-hand corner there, eh?
Yeah, but luckily this photo is taken from both sides of it, right? So you can still see that after the roller coaster, it continues straight and flat. And I guess they're going to argue that this is just some freak refraction day that just made it appear perfectly flat and level.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that refraction explanation from the Rumpus who promised it like at least 3 weeks ago now, probably getting towards 4. Still nothing from the Rumpus.
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre. It's like he's completely given up.
Well, he knows that he can only manipulate the refractive index so much, and if he manipulates it too much, then that's the first thing that I'm going to be looking at, how he's manipulated the refractive index, and he knows it's limited because we're almost in the vacuum when it comes to the refractive index of air and light passing through it. And I'll be the first one to point that out. So if he's magically made his refractive index that dense that it suddenly becomes, I don't know, let's think, water, 700 times more dense than air, then that's going to be a problem, isn't it, Rumpus? So we know that you're out there. We know that you're listening.
I think you succeeded in banishing him with your new footage.
Yeah, but oddly, Sly Sparkane still seems to think that he can't see it. But the level of disingenuity is unbelievable. I mean, they all call me for this, that, and the other. Yet I'm the one that's here every day and stand by myself, and then present the evidence when requested to do so, and then they don't come back with anything. And it's like, you guys aren't really being genuine, are you? Yet you got people like Dawn that'll still stand by them, even though they're missing all these evidences and they're not doing what they said they should be doing and can be doing and need to be doing. The Earth we live on is supposed to be a ball, guys. Where's the evidence to prove and explain this away?
Can you share my screen?
Yeah.
You got that, have you? Picture of Paynton Pier?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I took this about 3 years ago, probably before I was a flat earther. Have you seen the far right-hand corner there? You've got the mast of a yacht, but not the hull of the yacht. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only because it's a
But
bit
there we
small.
go. We've got curvature from where I was standing to that yacht. However, whenever we go across, that horizon is dead straight. So the best you can assume there is that we live on a cylinder.
Yeah, that's what Arwin says, a straw.
Exactly.
Dead straight. And that's quite a few miles I'm looking at as well.
Oh, Nathan, do us a favour.
Yes.
Can you present that picture that I sent to you that was the best picture in Flat Earth ever?
What,
yeah,
better than my stuff?
Yeah, better than that.
Now let's see it.
Because this is in reference to Phil Schofield dealing with the...
Right, okay. That was an awful interview, wasn't it?
It's in reference to Phil Schofield, in reference to the Darren Nesbitt interview and the Gary Heather or Gary, whatever his name is, in which Phil Schofield laughed them off by saying, quote, "I've seen the curvature of the Earth with my own eyes on Concorde. I was very lucky that I went on Concorde." And it's like, yeah. And Gary's response, which was edited out, I believe, said, "Yeah, the windows are slightly curved." And he was looked at with scorn and laughing. And Jeffrey Pinion's, "Are the clouds physical?" No, they're not. Clouds are not physical. If you look out the window, if Nathan gets it on, oh yeah, there we go. You can see that not only on the two lines at the bottom of the window, but even on the straight line at the top, the white line, they bend slightly at the edges. They've got ever so slight bezel. And if you were looking out a window and you saw the horizon, you would think that would be the curvature of the Earth. And virtually all windows are made by the same manufacturing company. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I did know that, yes. Jaron Campanella was the first to point that out after quite a lot of research.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool stuff.
Jeffrey Pinion, what are clouds if not physical? Well, they're not physical, are they? I mean, this comes back to the radio waves bouncing off the moon. Somebody actually did the calculations for what wattage you would need to be able to get if an amateur ham radio operator was able to successfully bounce a signal off the moon, it was something like 16 trillion watts would be necessary. That's the power that would be needed to be able to bounce a signal off the moon. So when P. Mars was saying that they were doing it, and they've been doing it for years, now they haven't been bouncing it off the moon. They think they're bouncing it off the moon, and there might be a correlation with it being in the moon, but there's not enough power to do that. Aside from the fact that the Earth and the moon have changed position in the time that he sent the signal, and for it to come back to Earth, he's not going to receive the signal because it's not in the same place anymore on their model. It's physically moved. So,
by the way, the Plain Truth and Chocolate Saying are saying that the link in the Hangout, and I refreshed it, is not the right link.
They were both kicked though from the last show. It may be something to do with that. It might be that they have to wait till tomorrow because they were kicked. But I've just double checked and reposted the link, and as far as I can tell, everything's hunky dory.
It's weird because I'm now currently joining their Hangout. It's just another group, so it's not the same link.
Not the same link. I've just cut it from
No,
this
it's
Hangout.
not.
Okay, I'll do it again.
yeah.
I joined, the link that is posted starts with YNY. This one starts with ZE2, so it's a different link.
There you go.
All right, I joined with it. I joined with a different account.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's got to be that.
All right.
I assume that's you playing Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to have you.
Thanks.
Yeah, on the day that you get kicked,
if you
get kicked by a sniper, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the reason why we can receive the bounce back from the moon is because it's tidal locked. So even though we've changed position, it's still all uniform.
No, the reason why we can't is because it's not a powerful enough signal, and the Earth has physically moved from when it was sent to when it comes back.
No, but I'm just saying we could still use the argument for being tidal locked. It's just all uniform. It's just, it doesn't matter what you say because that could still be just as viable an excuse. It's tidal locked.
According to the site that Alan B linked to yesterday, you can't basically send a signal and receive it back just with a normal ham radio without the actual amplifier that is supposed to be installed on the moon. So, but still, yeah, I don't know. Is it really, does it really work like that? I'm pretty curious to try and test it out myself, because who knows, maybe there is something that somehow is bouncing radio signals back when you point it at the moon and not when you point it beside the moon. I don't know.
Try it. Good luck with that.
Hello, Alan.
You have to have the equipment for it, but yeah, I am kind of curious to see if it is just a completely made-up story, or if there is some weird phenomena that causes that to occur.
You might be able to find a ham radio operator in your area if you put your mind to it, who would indulge you in an attempt. But other than that, you'd have to get a ham radio license and get the equipment and actually learn how to use it and all that. And it's quite a lot of effort to for something that is in all likelihood going to leave you empty-handed in the end.
Maybe I can like borrow or...
But you need to, I don't know, it's an art, right? The ham radio, and you actually have to have a license to operate a ham radio. So you'd have to find somebody who knows how to do it and has a license.
I think by the definition of a ham radio, though, those people don't have friends.
Yes, I've known a few ham radio operators, and I probably agree with you on that one, Alan.
Yeah,
hello. But interestingly, Arwin, bouncing signals off the moon.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
How much do you think the Earth moves in 2 seconds?
2 seconds to get
in relation to
250,000 miles.
No, it's like 70 to 80 kilometers.
It's not just the movement; it's the rotation that changes too. The angle's not right either.
But the signal has to go 500,000 miles, doesn't it, there and back?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're going 66,600 miles an hour in the orbital path, then after 2.4 seconds, I think it's something like 70 to 80 kilometers.
I'm telling you that the idea is that it's not moving at all, which makes it feasible that it can come back and be at the same spot. So
Yeah.
it's assuming that we're on a motionless plane.
Same as the laser
I
test.
don't know. Radio is not just it's not like a laser. It's basically a wave that's going in all directions, and then it bounces back in any way it can.
Yeah.
There may be a lot of delay. There's a power issue, of course, but yeah, it doesn't seem very likely. Let's just put it like that. But I'm still curious if this argument is supposedly out there. I'd love to somehow test it myself. Just see if it's complete nonsense or if there is actually something to it. It wouldn't automatically mean that the moon is a globe out there and then reflecting it back, but maybe there may be something that's causing a radio wave to bounce back somehow.
Radio signals are subject to diffuse reflection, right? So I don't even know how you could say with any certainty where the radio signal bounced back from.
Yeah, that was my original argument. You don't really know. So I'd love to test. You can somehow test it though if you can kind of aim it to besides the moon. And
I don't think you can
directly to the moon. I just want to see if there is something to it, just as a folklore thing, I guess.
But you can't really aim it with that kind of precision, right? You can just aim it like it's all going that direction or it's all going maybe the other direction, but it's not like a laser beam. It's not you're not sending a beam. You're not sending like a thin line of radio signals. You're sending out an inverse square radiating sphere of signals or a hemisphere of signals.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you hated the show, you know what to do. But if you like the show, consider sharing it. Consider liking it. Maybe subscribe if you've not done so already. Also, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!